You agree with me that these are all the tables in NotTwin database, and this is a schema. There are 10 in number. These are the tables we use to do join. We are going to look at self join here, and other than self join, we are going to look at this employee. As you can see, this line is showing what is self join between the employee ID and the report to. This report to here, this one here, between this employee ID and the report to. So that is what for self join. If you look at this place, employee, then employee territory. That's what you are seeing here now. Employee territory. And this key is telling us that what the primary key is employee ID. And if you come to this place, this one now that is a primary key here is also what? A foreign key in employee territory. So in this my diagram I drew, you see that employee is the one given to employee territory, just as employees is given to others. Because if you come to between employees and others, you see that the key is closer or is attached to employees table. Means that what? This connection, employee ID is primary here, while it is what? Foreign in others table. That is this particular one. You can confirm that here. If we look at this now, it's okay, employee, let's run that one for only employees. We found that this is employee ID. And if we go further to check for others, we found that in others, this employee ID is also here. Meaning what? It is a what? A foreign key here. Just like here, you find that employee ID is here, foreign, but here it's a primary key in employee table. Just as we've seen here, in employees table is primary, but here is what? It's a foreign. That's what we are seeing. All this key, you can look at it by yourself. I will upload this for you to go through everything. Like this particular one, it means that what? This customer type is primary here, and the key is attached to this one. In this place, it is what? A foreign key. And if you look at this between region and territory, it means that what? Region is the provider of the key. So here it is primary. Here it is what? Foreign. Between these two guys, for this key to be attached to suppliers, it means that what? In suppliers is primary, while here it is what? Foreign. That is this one, and so on and so forth. So, and this is what I did for all of them to make it easier for me to do any type of join. I designed this, means this is the giver. That means here it is primary, here it is foreign. This is the giver. Here it is primary, here it is foreign. Between categories of product, category is the giver. So category is primary category, and it is what? Foreign in product, and so on and so forth. With this type of thing, it is easier for me to do join without wasting time, be very fast. I'm not confused because I already understand the schema. There's no room for confusion. Why is this so important? Is because, for instance, if I want to do join between suppliers and product, what I will do is I will select all the columns I want to select from here. I will also select the columns I want to select from here. I will now say what? From product, for instance, or I will say from suppliers. If I say from product, I will now say in a join supplier on what basis? On the basis that was supplier ID in suppliers is equals to supplier IDs in products. Assume I want to do between others and customers. I know that customers is the giver of the key. So I will say select whatever I want to select from here. Also select. I will say from customers in a join with others on one ground. On the ground that what? Customer ID is equals to what? The customer ID that is here, not others. Because I know that what binds these two together is the customer ID. So I will use the customer ID to do the joining here. Here now we use the what? The customer ID to do the joining, because customer ID is the one that binds them together. Here now we use employee ID because it's the employee ID that binds them together. So I'm talking about the on what basis? I'm talking about the on. That's why this one is important. For instance, between products and other details, I know that is a product ID that we use between these two. So if you go further down here, that's what I did here too. If I'm joining between these guys, I know what the ID is coming from here. So on what? Employee ID is equals to employee ID here. Here, employee ID here is equals to employee ID here. This one is other ID equals to other IDs here. Product ID is equals to product ID here. Here, supply ID equals to supply ID here. Category ID equals to category ID here. Customer ID is equals to what? Order ID, and so on and so forth. So this one help me to do my join with speed without what? Missing anything. With this, let's go ahead now and do our types of join. We're going to look at single join, 2 table join, 3 table join to 10 table join. Let's go ahead now and start our work. Thank you for viewing.